Right, so Chat GPT can ace the bar in the 90th percentile. It's passed the medical licensing exam. It's passed the SATs in the 93rd percentile. It's 50% more effective at reading MRIs and X-rays. It's read every book. It's read every movie, watched every movie. Like, don't you think it might be able to help your business? I think so. I think there's a good chance of that. I know when I started using AI in my business, I was able to quit my day job 4 months later, and I've never looked back. So I think that ChatGPT can help your business. And the goal today is to help you get some ideas, kind of walk you through start to finish, how you can really get started and maximize the opportunity of probably the greatest tool in human history. So pop open ChatGPT, get your questions ready, and let's get it started. And just as a reminder, this is a live interactive workshop. So I want to hear your questions. I want to hear your feedback, your ideas throughout the course of this session. And if you'd like to be in future sessions, you can sign up for the sessions at afterhoursentrepreneur.mastermind.com. I'll put a link in the comments below. I will put a link in the comments below so you can join future sessions. Right, cool. Also, for everyone in the chat here, share your LinkedIn, share your Instagram. Great to connect, not just in here in the chat, but also outside chat, right? Like, that's why we're here. So just to get started, right, I do recommend getting signed up for the Plus. It's $20 a month to get ChatGPT Plus. I think it's worth every penny. It gives you access to the most advanced language model. It gives you access to any new features that are rolling out. Like at this time, you can create custom GPTs. You'll get first access to marketplace, things like that. By the way, custom GPTs are sick. You can create your own chat bots to answer frequently asked questions from clients, to steer prospects to products and services that you offer. Custom GPTs are slick, really slick. We might get into that a little bit today. It allows you to skip queue times. So for me, access to the most powerful language model in the world, in the history of mankind, it's probably worth $20 a month, in my opinion. So what do we do once we get into ChatGPT? The first thing that I recommend is getting started here in the bottom left-hand corner with your custom instructions. Right? So if you're in ChatGPT, if you haven't set up custom instructions, this is a good idea on how to get started. Again, because we want to maximize ChatGPT. We want ChatGPT to be giving us the best information as possible. So when you click on the bottom left, custom instructions, you get a chance here to just let it know a little bit about you, what your goals are, what your purposes are. Everyone's using this for a different reason, whether it's my kid trying to make silly giraffe images, or if you're trying to get advice on scaling your Fortune 500 company. Letting GPT know what your intentions are is important. And then letting ChatGPT know how you'd like it to respond. I like to keep things concise, professional, cite resources whenever possible. And I want to make just a couple notes here as well. You know, ChatGPT has nearly infinite knowledge based on the internet and all the previous chats. Everything that you put in ChatGPT gets categorized. So you want to be cautious whenever you're implementing and inputting stuff like sensitive personal information, social security numbers, contact information. Just be aware that can and probably is being categorized. You also want to be careful sharing trade secrets as well. If there's any trade secrets, or, you know, proceed with caution because it is going into the database. All right. And by the way, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to interject or add, feel free to raise your hand, type it in the chat. Right. You also want to be aware that, you know, ChatGPT is not always 100% accurate. Sometimes it'll just lie straight to your face. There was an attorney in New York who was using ChatGPT to prepare for a big case. ChatGPT ended up making up fake case law and then lying about it. And then when he presented to the judge, well, it just didn't go too well for him. We'll put it that way. Didn't go too well for him. Being specific with your prompt is important. Using specific words is definitely a benefit in letting ChatGPT know what you want to do. All right. Before I get too far down the rabbit hole of all these kind of quick notes, the next thing that you're going to want to do after you've set your custom instructions is make sure that you have all your beta features and plugins turned on. They're going to be releasing these periodically. So, every couple of weeks or so, you just want to make sure that everything is turned on. All right. Turned on. Turn it on. Okay. So that's kind of a quick overview getting started. And you can see it's just not that complicated to get started. Is everyone with me so far? Is everyone with me? Setting up your custom instructions, all right? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Pretty easy. So a few more notes. When using Chat GPT for copywriting, and after I get through some of these like general notes, I'll get into some specific ways I've been using Chat GPT. I'd love to hear your uses as well. When you're using Chat GPT for copywriting, I definitely recommend giving it a personal touch. I was talking to Neil Patel. He's the foremost SEO expert, the biggest SEO expert in the world. I had him on my show a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, actually. And I was talking about, like, should we be using AI to write blogs for our website? He's like, yes, unequivocally, yes, you should be. It writes very well. It's very fast. But you definitely want to give it a personal touch, because we don't know if Google might start saying, if it's totally written by AI, you're not going to be indexed properly. I was speaking to someone on the live chat yesterday who's an author, who had mentioned that, if you're using just Chat GPT just to write a full book for you and just copy and pasting it, Amazon might flag you and take you down. So if you're looking for ways to avoid that, one of the simple ways is just changing every 7th word. ChatGPT and AI is really a predictive text mechanism. So if you can throw off the predictive text by taking a word like, so for example, if you had it write out, how can I help you today? And you change that to, how can I assist you today? That's a method of throwing off any sort of AI detection. Now, that's at the lowest level what you can do, but establishing your own personal touch is a good way of using this powerful copywriting tool while making it yours, sounding real. You also want to consider that the magic here is in follow-up questions. It's in the follow-up questions. You put your initial prompt in, and then make sure that you're able to come back with killer follow-up questions. I'll go through a few of my favorite follow-up questions here later in this session, right? So if you want to hear those follow-up questions, by the way, thanks for liking and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. But later in the video, I'll be sharing some of my favorite follow-up questions. But the better your follow-up questions are, the better you're going to get. And again, I think ChatGPT, this is going to become a new skill, probably one of the most important skills in the world, prompt engineering. Prompt engineering. The better you are at prompting it on the front end and then asking it follow-up prompts, the better your results are. So we are just at the very tip of this industry. The industry is just starting out. This is going to be one of the most valuable skills. And and again, I mentioned this earlier. Whether you're running a company or you're an employee at a company, knowing how to engineer prompts is going to soon become incredibly valuable in your organization. World Economic Forum anticipates 30 million jobs displaced, 30% of the global workforce, excuse me. The World Economic Forum anticipates 80 million jobs displaced over the next 12 months. What you're going to be seeing is the people that are using AI are going to be rising to the top. The people that are not using AI are going to have a hard time competing. You want to be known at your organization. You want to be known in the marketplace as someone that's using this tech. You're just not going to be able to compete if you're not. The other thing that I think is cool that, people you may or may not be aware of, especially if you're on a pro account, is that, you don't just have to type everything in to Chat GPT. You can upload images, transcripts, tables, spreadsheets, charts. For example, when I was training my podcast consultant GPT, how was I doing that? I have dozens and dozens of PDF documents, all sorts of trainings and worksheets and transcripts. I uploaded them all. So now my podcast consultant is trained on all of my information. Super fast. I don't have to go in and type in every single thing that I wanted to do. I did some of that. But you can also train it with the resources that you already have at your disposal. For all you coaches, consultants, realtors, all of your stuff, you can just upload and help train it on. Right? I'm curious, has anyone used this feature before? Has anyone used the image uploading feature in Chat GPT? Have y'all tried this? Have you played with it? Have you had any results? Anyone here? Any examples of how you might have used this?
I have not used the image upload yet, but I have used Chat GPT. So I'm interested to learn, more.
Cool. You know, one of the common uses is uploading your calendar and say, "Hey, can you fix my schedule? It's a hot mess." That's an option. Bruce, you have something?
Yeah, once I get into Pro, I plan on uploading transcripts from the lives I've been doing the last 2 weeks to like make an ebook about ADHD, like stuff that I've been talking about.
Brilliant. Here's a question. You know, for everyone that's creating content out there, writing books, writing blogs, creating videos, recording podcasts, have you used Chat GPT as a way of giving yourself ideas of what to write about? Have you done that? Have you said, "Hey, Chat GPT, give me 100 different articles on ADHD in men," and then picking out your favorite 10? I see Kiri's on it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I definitely use it for idea generation. I did, like I told you before, I just don't like the idea of using it for like original content creation.
Fair point.
I love using it for ideas and just grabbing different stories in history that I can go and research more on my own to again create original content.
Love that. Dr. John, did you have something you wanted to add here, a way that you've been using?
Well, I've not actually used it. I just tried it out. All this while I've not been using it. So, but I just tried it out with just a word search, and it came up with a good idea of something I can actually develop to what I really wanted to work on. I think it's cool.
Oh, it's cool. Oh, it's cool. I'll give you an example of how I've been using it. Jeremy might be using this in a similar way, as I know his YouTube channel has been blowing up. But one of the things that I do for YouTube is I'll sit down and batch record short form videos, right? And I'd like to, you know, I want to create like compelling short form videos quickly, send them to my team for production, right? Well, I can go to Chat GPT and I can say, give me 10 to 20 shocking video titles for AI, for the way that AI is going to impact the world. And then I just riff on those particular items, throw it up on the YouTube shorts, see which videos hit, see which don't, and I go deeper on videos that hit. So that's a cool way that you can generate ideas quickly for recording short form videos, writing social media posts. I'm going to take it one step further here in the training part, because I think this is important. If you're using ChatGPT to generate ideas and to write content, one of the things that we want ChatGPT to be considering is what kind of keywords we want to be ranking for. If you're not familiar with what this means, keywords are just like hashtags for Google. It helps you to index better for a particular keyword. So if someone goes into Google and says, "How do I launch a podcast?" I want to be ranking for that. So I will train ChatGPT, whether it's in an individual chat or whether it's in a specific GPT that I've created, to say, "Hey, focus on these types of keywords." And you might ask, "Well, Mark, how do I know what type of what keywords I want to rank for?" Well, you can just go to Google has a free keyword tool that you could go to the Google Keyword Planner. You can see how many people are searching for a keyword, how competitive that keyword is. That's a good way of figuring out which keywords you want to rank for. Right? You can use a program like vidIQ or TubeBuddy to see what's ranking on YouTube, what the competition is. You can even use a program like Answer the Public, which is another way you can rank. So anyway, finding out which keywords you want to rank for, plugging that into ChatGPT, and then asking you to give you ideas based on those keywords. Good idea. So it's something that's really helped me to grow on YouTube this year. Yeah, pain points and hooks for YouTube and descriptions. I also ask for SEO keywords in my follow-up prompts. Love that, Trisha. Going a little bit deeper. And then one of the things that you can do after you've, I'm just going to kind of take this YouTube idea just to another level. You know, after you've kind of figured out the types of posts that people are interested in, maybe it's a short video that went semi-viral, or it's a blog article that people really enjoyed. Well, then you can go a step further. You could say, "Hey, ChatGPT, people loved this video. Give me 10 more ideas that are in line with this style of video or in line with this type of topic." let's say, for example, you're a marriage counselor, right? And you say, hey, write me 10 video ideas on intimacy, write me 10 ideas on communication, write me 10 ideas on resolving conflict, 10 ideas on trust, right? And then you can continue to kind of drill down more and more ideas. So that's one of the ways that ChatGPT can really powerful, right? And again, just kind of solidify this point here. If you've already put together a bunch of resources, you can upload those images, those charts, all into ChatGPT using this little toggle right here, this little attachment here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Another thing that you'll run into here, just as a quick note, is I'm running through some of my top 10 tips here. Occasionally ChatGPT will just stop writing and you'll be like, why did you just stop in the middle of a sentence? If you just type continue, it'll keep going. You don't need to do anything else, just write continue. It'll keep going. There's some other really interesting ways that you can format your results. You can ask it to create, to answer in a table format, right? You can, so for example, I can say, so this is so cool. ChatGPT knows itself as well. So what are 50 books every entrepreneur should read, and one sentence summary. Put this in table format. So you can ask it to put it in a table. You can ask to put it in bullet points. You can ask it to write it in the form of like a dialogue or a script. CSS for all you coders out there. God bless you. You're in trouble. You can ask it to generate images. You can ask it to put it in a comma delimited format. So there's a lot of different ways that you can format your response as well. So those are some of my favorites here. You can also ask ChatGPT to generate response in a particular style, the style of an author, actor, musician, brand, right? Maybe you want it to write in the voice of J.R.R. Tolkien, author of The Hobbit, for example, one of my favorite books. Some cool ways that you can leverage ChatGPT to customize it. It also can be automated with apps using Zapier. Has anyone used ChatGPT with Zapier? Anyone played with that at all? That's when stuff just gets bananas when you start doing that. I'm just waiting for ChatGPT to kind of do its thing here. I'll come back when it's ready. But once you start incorporating Zapier into ChatGPT, and I've already started playing with it to write blog articles using Google Forms. I've used it with Calendly to prepare me for podcast interviews. You can use it to attach stuff to WordPress. I'm starting to implement ChatGPT and Zapier into my Go High Level account. So some really slick stuff you can do with Zapier. I'll probably put on an entire training on that, because once you start incorporating automation into AI, that's when things just get crazy. Crazy. All right, cool. So those are my top 10 to 15, just kind of quick top line. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of those concepts. I think those are really important. Those are things that I found it to be impactful in. Is everyone with me here? Is everyone still with me here? Following along? We're good? We're good?
Yeah, we're here.
All right, cool. I know I'm hitting a lot really quickly here. I will be sharing the upload. I will be sharing the replay on YouTube here, and be later today or in a few days. You'll also be able to get access to it in the pro group that I lead. That's her point as well. All right, cool. So some of the top end biggest ideas here. I do want to open it up for questions here, because we're going to start to get into uses like productivity, education, finance, career, communication, travel, relationship, science, writing, health, marketing, entrepreneurship, entertainment. All these are all different ways that I've found ChatGPT to be really powerful. But I do want to open it up as well here for a couple minutes and just say, hey, did I miss anything? Do you have a top 10 tip? Something that you've used ChatGPT for that just blew your socks off. I'd like to hear from you, from the group here, to see if you have anything that I maybe missed here. Bruce, what you got, brother?
Yeah, so like I've talked about, I'm still on the free version. Can you speak to what the differences are in the quality of like the responses you're getting on Chat GPT 3.5 versus the paid version?
I mean, I find so that, I mean, there's a few advantages, but generally speaking, I just find that the writing is a bit more compelling. It's more robust. It kind of understands a little bit, just a little bit better.
Doesn't it
You
have
know,
more current access to like active information?
it does. It's updated to, I want to say April of 2023. So it is a more updated version. You're just getting more access. I don't know about you, but there will be times when I open up Chat GPT and it's like, and it'll say something like, you're in a queue. You got to wait. Come back in an hour. So you get to skip all that as well. So if you think about like you're driving on the freeway, the plus is kind of like being in the express lane in a way.
Yeah,
You get where you want.
something I've used mine for a lot is like customer segmentation and like how to target my marketing more specifically. Because for me, like I know what I want to create and what I want to do, but like finding the people I'm trying to like get at was kind of hard for me. So I started to just use Chat GPT as like a sounding board. Like, hey, where would this kind of like my dream avatar, where would this person like hang out? What kind of websites would they go to? And that was very helpful. But I was curious if it would be even more like to the moment if I had the upgraded version.
I mean, I definitely think it would be, amongst other things, which, and again, quite frankly, I think just having access, having the ability to create custom GPTs is a really important feature. And when I say custom GPTs, that's your own custom chatbot. I had friends that have been working for months on these chatbots, right? Trying to develop chatbots, going to sell them to companies, going to make them custom for companies. But then ChatGPT is like, oh, you can actually make them right within our program, almost like within a very short period of time, and they're great. That my buddy's like, my business just died on the table.
I don't think it died on the table, but it's definitely it's a short timer because a lot of people they're not ready to like pay for access to GPT-4 yet, and they don't realize how big of a game changer it is, especially as far as like custom GPTs and chatbots are. Like there's like maybe 6 more months to sell your chatbots, and then you're done for.
Yeah, I think I actually recorded an entire YouTube video um, on these chatbots, but you could use it for prospecting as a way of like, again, let me share my screen here. You can create these chatbots that are trained. So let's say, does anyone have a question on podcasting? Actually, it gives examples, right? So, what hardware do I need for my podcast? This is a pretty common question I get, right? You can think in the back of your head, what are some questions that I get asked a lot in my line of work, right? So these are some of the frequently asked questions that I have. So what hardware do I need for my podcast, right? I can send this to anyone. This can be a prospect, someone who's interested in working with me. This can be an existing client, right? And so it's going to break down all the different, this is a little generic. So let me see if it's going to come to here. All right. So one of the things that's cool here is now it's giving the answer. These are all the different items that you need to consider, but it also gives a link to my Amazon shop, which is a place where they can actually purchase directly from me. So this is a salesperson that's working 24/7, 365. Then I could go a step further and say, okay, cool. What type of mic? What kind of microphone do I need? And you can even train these just for personal use. You might make some of these chatbots that are only for you. You'll remember in the beginning of the session, we talked about creating your custom instructions. One of the problems with custom instructions, they apply to every single chat that you create. Whereas some of the chats, might be using it for different purposes. You can create your own GPT specifically for you. And you can see here as it goes down here, it's just noting some of my favorite microphones, some of the microphones that I prefer to use. And then again, giving a link to my shop, right? Or I can even go a step further and say, do you have any video tutorials? So again, this is just kind of a quick example of something that I was able to set up. Yeah, yeah. And Soda, by the way, we did have Rishi Khan, who is just an absolute genius on this stuff. And he's going to be, he wants to come back. He wants to come back. So that'll be pretty cool. He gave a real masterclass on creating chatbots. It was pretty crazy. That is live on YouTube too. So I don't know what's happening with this network error, but this is a cool thing. Again, do you have any video tutorials? Yeah, sure. Definitely. You can go to Mark Savant Media's YouTube channel, basically. Right. So now what you're doing is you're steering people towards your resources, towards your references. Yeah, I can see the wheels turning. I can see the wheels turning in different ways you can create some of these own GPTs, these own chatbots. Right. So it's some pretty cool stuff you can do. Yeah, and to make these chatbots, it's really not difficult here, Trish. If you're on the Pro and you hit Explore and you create a GPT, you can get right into that from there. And again, uploading all your PDFs, uploading frequently asked questions, answering it, just kind of going in there and playing with it for a little while is a good way to get into, to get that going. So anyway, this is the chatbot I've spent the most time on. I'll share it here in the chat if anyone wants to kind of play with that. Check that out. You can kind of play with that. And yeah, and if you like, I'll put a link. I'll put a link below to that training that Rishi gave on going deep into these chatbots, because it was really, really cool. Really, really cool. I'm very excited about where that tech can go. All right. All right, cool. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm basically using Chat GPT for just about everything. I've given you quite a few ideas, from creating these custom GPTs to generating lists. Another really cool thing you can do, again, is, creating guides, creating lesson plans, meeting preparation. There are so many applications. So I do want to just kind of continue opening up to the floor. Are there any other, what's something that you're stuck on? What's something that you might want to workshop here live? What's something, maybe a course that you're building, a book that you're planning? I'll give you an example. One of the things that I want to do here, let me share my screen here. One of the things that I want to do is I want to do a podcast automation a workshop, right? It'll be that I want to, so I'm just going to type into ChatGPT exactly what I want to do. The more specific we are, the better. Okay. And I'm not going to have to prime it with exactly who I am. We've already set that up in the custom instructions, right? So I'm planning a 4-week workshop designed to help business owners and podcasters automate their podcast with AI. What are the key steps in the process? We should focus on. What are the, how can I format the 4-week program? Write me an itinerary. This will be performed over Zoom in 1-hour segments. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is an idea of something that I'm planning. So when you think about 2024 and some of your plans, some of your ideas, some of the things that are up in your head, ChatGPT is a really good way of starting to build out your itinerary, your format, what you're actually planning on executing. All right. And, whereas this is not going to be the final product, if I play with this for 30 minutes and keep drilling down, it's going to help me to build out my exact format. Right. And so I can say, oh, I like this, I don't like that. And I can even do something like this. So watch this. This is pretty cool here. Again, the wisdom is in the follow-up. So I can say something like, I want to really focus on week 1, sessions 1 and 2. Can you expand on these for the entire workshop? So again, as we go through this, the way I like to operate this is I'll start to copy and paste certain sections from the workshop. Copy a part here, paste it into a Word document, and keep fleshing it out, keep building it out. Okay. And so over the course of the hour, I can plan out this entire workshop. And then I can start knocking out, blasting it out. It'll even give me ideas. So I'll say, okay, cool. This looks great. Write me out an email funnel campaign. Email drip campaign for my followers. So you can, again, start to build out not only the course, not only your topic, but all the production on the back end. And again, we're not just going to copy and paste this, but we're going to go in and we're going to make it ours. I would recommend with any newsletter, with any writing that you do, you're adding in personal stories. I find that makes a big difference. Right. And again, I would have like a Google Doc here. So I have like a Google Doc open side by side and just saying, okay. See, look how cool this is. It's got email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4. How long have y'all spent sitting in front of your email, your ConvertKit or your MailChimp? You're like, where do I even start writing these emails? This just gives you the entire format instantly. Pam, I'm with you. Way too long overthinking it. Way too long. This just wrote out basically the whole format, and then you can just go in and clean it up, or you can expand. And you could say, for example, can you expand on email 3? I'd like to make it more compelling with a stronger call to action. I'm going to give you another cool thing here that you can do as well that might kind of open your eyes to what's possible here. This is another cool idea. All right. I'm just going to kind of stop it here. All right. So this is another cool idea. Let's say you have a favorite author, right? So let's say I really like Russell Brunson. Okay. This looks great. Write me out a traffic funnel and webinar structure for this project based on Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets book. There we go. I see you, Bruce. I see you, Bruce. And it's just going to build it all out. So what I think is really important here is just understanding that every book that you've read, it's read, Chat GPT has read every book ever created. So when you start using it to in this type of structure, like look at this webinar structure, personal introduction, workshop overview. And again, you kind of keep drilling down on this, because again, it's not going to be perfect right off the bat, but you can start to, it's like molding clay. It's hard to mold a piece of clay from nothing, but when you already have like the format there, it becomes much easier, much faster, right? So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Any thoughts here? I don't want to just monologue. Any thoughts, questions, ideas, maybe a question, maybe you'd like us to workshop something that you're working on before we start to get into a couple more topics.
I said one question. Have you
Sure.
ever used it to create slides for some like courses or things like that you're creating, like using the graphics? Have you ever used it for something like that or heard for somebody using slides for PowerPoint or for Canva?
So yes and no. I really like this new iteration of Chat GPT to generate images. There's other programs that I think are a little bit more optimized for creating slides, right? Um, what I personally do is I'll create the format, I'll generate some images, and then I'll send it over to my design team to say, hey, can you put this together into into a PowerPoint presentation or something like that? And I'll just kind of label it out, right? So, like for example, I'll say, can you generate 5 overview slides for this presentation? It's not going to give you actual slides. This is interesting too. I even misspelled the word slides, but it still understood that I meant slides. It still was able to interpret that and get that from it. All right. So again, so here's your 5 slides: evolution of podcasting AI era, unlocking efficiency, blah, 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 blah. I say, okay, generate an image in 16:9 format for slide 3, which I think is pretty important. One of the problems I've had with programs like Midjourney is it's always going to be a square format. With ChatGPT, it's going to allow you to create in different formats where it's vertical, horizontal, any type of format. So if you're creating like ebook covers, you're creating something for social media, this could be really jaw-dropping, right? One of the problems though is you'll see here that is a problem here is spelling. ChatGPT AI just has a really hard time with spelling, right? But if you're not happy with that, you can just click this refresh button. It can regenerate a different image. Okay. What I can also do here, stop. Regenerate the image, but include a scientist on the moon teaching thousands of people. So again, we could start to get a little bit more specific and I could say something like the scientist is very tall or standing on a podium or speaking into a mic or wearing a hat. There's a lot of cool things you can do. Pam, you had a question here?
Yes, I wanted to ask, so when you get the image, are you able to save that and then take it into Canva and update the text on it, or is that possible?
You sure can. You sure can. So I can actually walk you through something like this here real quick. There are limitations, right? But you certainly can. So let's come over here to Canva. All right.
I feel like a kid in a candy store. I feel like I'm being reborn. This is so exciting.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. 16:9. What's that 16:9 format? This is basically the same as a YouTube thumbnail. So we'll just YouTube thumbnail. All right. So now that we've got the image, we can simply download it, which by the way, we're doing training similar to this every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can sign up for those. I think I shared it here earlier. You can sign up for more training sessions here. I'll reshare it in the chat. And while I'm good at some things, I'm not an expert in everything. And so I'm bringing in a bunch of experts to lead these sessions as well, just really focused on business and finding ways to generate income, right? Okay. So so what we did here again is I click this little down arrow to download the image. It's generated by DALL-E, and we're up in Canva. I'm just going to drag and drop the image here from my folder. I'm going to drag and drop it, right? We're just going to kind of size it out here. I'm kind of doing this quick and in rough here, right? So now we've got our image in there. We can do all kinds of stuff. This is where, quite frankly, I like to have a graphic designer that I work with, because they're going to be able to spend a little bit more time finessing this, because you can see that it's going to be tricky to like make this look perfect without a little bit of work. But, you know, I can kind of go in here. I can add my text, be something like content enhancement with AI, right? And then,
So that's a great idea too, to have that image to give to your graphic designer. So then that saves a lot of time explaining, and then just tell them, you know, the updates that you want to make.
exactly. And I could play with this, you know, but I can add like let me see here. Like what I would probably do with something like this is add like a little box here, right? And then I can take this and I can bring it to front. Is it already in the front? All right, cool. It's already in the front, right? And I could do something like this, and you know, again, and you kind of see, you know, again, you need to play with this a little bit, maybe play with the gradient and stuff like that. But you know, to my point, you send this to your graphic designer. They don't have to start from scratch. They don't have to grab some random stock footage. They can start with something that's unique, that's interesting, and just kind of clean up the text.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
I also, by the way, I'm really liking this for my newsletter. You know, it helps me to generate like really cool eye-popping images for my newsletter immediately, right? So like, for example, we're dropping a newsletter. I drop a newsletter every Tuesday and Friday on like the newest AI stuff. And so tomorrow we're going to be releasing like some of the big news stories are like some like Tesla robot update is a big one. So I can just go into Chat GPT and I can say, generate an image of Tesla robots serving a woman in a, well, we'll do this. We'll do a sexy woman wearing a red hat coffee. Actually, I'm going to reformat this. Serving coffee to a sexy woman wearing a red hat. Right? So it's not going to allow me to do Tesla because, you know, you can do that in Midjourney, but you can't do branded stuff. But of a humanoid robot, I'm going to do a humanoid robot because that's what the new Tesla robot looks like. Yeah, Trisha, this is like crazy. And you can see the thing that I ask going a level further is what happens to all the graphic designers out there? They're going to be impacted. They're going to be
Yeah,
impacted.
they need to pivot, right? I mean, they could make this their business. I mean, and be on top of it.
Exactly. And so here you've got your kind of your image here generated 2 minutes, and you can just go with it. Again, you know, the text is weird. I expect that the text is going to get sorted out very soon here. But you'll notice like we're not dealing with the 5 fingers. Sometimes people, like if you look in the background real closely, sometimes people will have like multiple arms and stuff like that. Sometimes that pops. But quite frankly, I don't think people are going to care all that much, you know. And if you have a graphic designer, you can send this to them and they can tidy it up. This is brand new, by the way, this stuff. It's pretty quick. And yes, Simon, you absolutely can. So look at say, regenerate this image in a square format. Now, the other problem here is it's not going to regenerate the image exactly the same. It'll kind of rethink it a little bit. So the woman might look a little bit different, or the robot might look a little bit different, but you can ask it, hey, give it different dimensions. Absolutely. Or you could even do it in a different style. So I could say, make it in a cartoon style. So you can see here, it's in a square format. It's kind of changed it, right? Or you could say, generate this in, generate this image in the style of Norman Rockwell, right? Should do this. Yeah, Norman Rockwell. Or you could say do it in a pop art style or do it in a cartoon style, right? Whatever, once you find your jam or your style, you can kind of go with that. You can also create your own GPT. Oh, it's not going to do it for me. Okay. Well, this does work in another program called Midjourney, and there's ways to get around this, right? So like, for example, I could say, could you please explain? So this is some ways that you can get around issues like this. Could you please explain characteristics of Norman Rockwell's art style? So watch this. Again, sometimes you got to think. You got to think on the fly here, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to come back here and say, Jimmy, wearing a hat. Please generate the images using these considerations. I'm just going to kind of go through this real quick here without going into too much detail, but because you can kind of get the point here. And I don't want to go too in depth, but this stuff is really fun here. So what I would do here is probably just take out any instance of the word Rockwell. Let's see if we can get a different example here. So anyway, some really, really cool stuff you can get into here. What else? Yeah. So we're kind of closing out on the hour here. All right. So it's going to give me a hard time here. I could continue going on with this, but you can see how you can start to, once you spend a little bit more time in here, you can kind of tweak GPTs. You can do this. Another really popular program is a program called Midjourney, which can create copyrighted images. Like you could create an image of Mario having lunch with Bowser or something like that. So, which is another pretty cool program. All right. I just want to kind of keep things focused on Chat GPT, right? But anyway, there's some really cool things you can do here. Or we could say, hey, generate the image in a pop art style. So that'll work. Basically, as you can see, anytime that it's saying, so this is one of the big concerns, I think, in Simeon here being in the law field knows that this is kind of a big upcoming thing is copyright. Who owns the copyright to these images? Nobody wants to get sued. And this is kind of one of the bigger question marks here. It's my understanding that there is some case law that is already out there that can help kind of establish some parameters, but that is one of the big things I think big companies, especially like OpenAI, are trying to avoid. But look at this image. This image looks awesome. And if your company uses, you can kind of like easily teach it to brand your own style. And again, you could train a GPT to like you can see here in that training we did with Rishi, he said, hey, help us create a meme GPT. And it was the specific purpose of creating these funny meme type images. You could create pop art GPT or dystopian GPT or cartoon GPT. And so you can start to create these really cool graphics, which, again, these are going to be useful anywhere, whether it's on social media, on your blog. Being able to format them, as Simeon mentioned, is a really powerful tool. That could historically take a lot of time, right? Woo! So I feel like we just kind of scraped the surface on this type of stuff. Did you guys enjoy this training here? Enjoy the training?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you very much.
Dig it. I definitely plan on doing more of these. I'm bringing more people in every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're doing trainings. Again, in the pro group, I just really want to focus on this stuff. It's really important. I'll also be sending out more information throughout my newsletter. It goes out twice a week. Sign up for that at aiupdate.ai. Put up the link there. there'll be more trainings. Welcome to anyone who just popped in a little bit late. This replay will be on YouTube. What's up? What's up?
Sorry about the lateness.
That's all right. That's all right. Yep. Again, the newsletter, I'll be kind of sharing out some of the newest stuff that I'm learning. Yeah, we just like, I've got a lead magnet that is in design. It's 90 pages long. My designer is working on formatting it all. 90-page long guide. I'll be shooting that out through the email. But we look at, all sorts of things like my favorite prompts, detailed description of words. We didn't barely even get into follow-ups. So let me see if I can get to those real quick, because I think the follow-ups are important. These are some of my favorite follow-up prompts, right? Some of my favorite follow-up prompts. Ask it to elaborate. Ask it to give more examples. Ask to maybe put something in a different context, right? Maybe it gives you the context in like speaking to seniors, but you'd rather create the context of speaking to a 40-year-old executive, right? Or an 18-year-old student. Give me a different context. Compare and contrast, right? Well, I'm thinking about these two different business ideas. Can you give me a pros con list? Can you compare and contrast the value of YouTube versus TikTok? Blog versus newsletter, right? What are the pros and cons of Midjourney versus Chat GPT for image generation? Chat GPT might give you a biased answer because it's got, but you can start to see how compare and contrast could work. Step-by-step guidance. Hey, I want to start my YouTube channel. What are the steps I need to know? What's step-by-step? I want to create a digital course. What are step-by-step? It's pretty remarkable. You can even say, this is one of my favorite things too. Build me out a marketing plan based on Donald Miller's story brand. I've done that before too. I don't know why it's not giving us the images. Maybe that's more subject to copyright than referencing books for ideas, but alternatives. I'm thinking about doing this. Can you give me alternative? Clarify. This is one of my favorites. Clarify, right? Or maybe if it misses the mark, just say try again. Simplify. You can also ask it to rewrite something in less words, right? Rewrite that just rewrite that as a Twitter post of less than 150 characters or something like that. It's remarkable when it can do that. Pros and cons list we talked about. Predict, if we went down road number 2, can you predict what problems I might run into? Can you predict some of the follow-up questions I might get? So a lot's happening in this field. And listen, the vast majority of people are not, like 85% of people have not even heard of Chat GPT. So the fact that you're actually here, you're actually learning, you're using some of these resources, it's putting you at the very top. At the very top, you're in an advantageous position. I believe that.